welcome. Hey, everybody. So, Mercury is definitely in retrograde. I don't know if everybody's feeling that or not, but I'm definitely feeling it. Hope everybody's doing well. Shit is really popping off the past few days. Definitely yesterday. Just a lot going on right now, like everywhere. So, just wanted everybody to come on in and join me, catch up on the latest. This story's been out for a little while, but I saw Harsh talking about it, and I just kind of thought I would touch on it too, because it's kind of interesting when you think about it, the implications, right? So, this whole fraternity situation, right, that we talk about. This whole fraternity situation that we talk about, everyone says, how could they possibly have this group of, this group from the fraternity do something like this and keep it secret, or this group on Linda Lane, and they're keeping it secret. Someone would break, right? Somebody would definitely break, and it would be, it would have come out by now, right? And then you hear something like this. You hear something like this happen, and it's not at a different university. It's right at the University of Idaho.
Thinking about getting a new roof for your home in the next year or so? Now, before you get bids from contractors.
A University of Idaho student says he was attacked by a group of other students, including some Vandal football players. That student's family is now asking for answers. The Reed family says back in February, a group of 40 to 50 students showed up uninvited to their son Timmy's house off campus. Timmy had been planning on hosting a party that night, but when the group showed up, Timmy's dad says he asked them to leave. Then he says they punched him, knocking him unconscious. Again, this was back in February. Well, now Timmy's dad says the university is dragging their feet on the investigation. Nicole Hernandez reports tonight.
It was very devastating as a parent.
It's been 10 weeks since Nick Reed got the call about his son.
We found out the next morning, February 11th.
Found out their son, Timmy, woke up looking like this.
He'd asked them to leave, and 20 or 30 seconds in, he was cold-cocked and knocked unconscious and broke his nose.
Nick was surprised by the whole situation.
He's just a nice kid, never been in a fight in his entire life.
The family's lawyer says the week before this fight, someone in Timmy's fraternity got into a scuffle with a Vandal football player. They say that could be why the group showed up that night, for some sort of revenge.
Nothing that Timmy did incited those 40 or 50 football players or athletes that show up at his house. He had nothing to do with anything the week previous.
Since the university and police have been investigating.
I know the police investigation is ongoing, but we feel like the university could have done more.
The University of Idaho said today they are taking this seriously. They said, quote, anytime the safety of any students comes into question, we are deeply concerned and work to understand the facts and take action accordingly. The Moscow police also updated us today, saying they still have one more search warrant they need to serve in their investigation. In the meantime, the Reeds are waiting for more concrete answers.
Psychologically, it's been tough for us and him.
That was Nicole Hernandez reporting. Another part of this, Nick Reed was part of a scholarship fund that raises money for U of I students. That scholarship fund decided not to hold their annual fundraiser this year out of concern some of the money would benefit one of the attackers. Nick Reed says he was not part of that decision and actually resigned from his position with the organization.
So there you have it. That happened 10 weeks ago, right? 10 weeks ago, and there's been no arrests. They have one of the attackers, allegedly a football player, but no arrest has been made. And here's an article. I'm just going to go through it briefly, but University of Idaho civil engineering student Timmy Reed was beaten back in February by a group of 40 to 50 people wearing masks and wielding PVC pipes. I remember hearing a lot of pipes over on Linda Lane, some of whom were apparent football players, his attorney Tim Gresbeck said on Wednesday. And you just saw the picture of his black eye and fractured nose. And there was another picture I saw, I don't know if it was in that video, of the back of his head. It reminded me a lot of the photos from, if you're familiar with the Karen Reed case, of what Officer O'Keefe looked like. He had a fractured nose, black eyes, a concussion from being knocked unconscious after his head hit asphalt. This young man was so addled with fear, he's now been sleeping with a knife under his pillow. Can you imagine this? 50 kids showing up to your house with masks. What is going on at this campus? They had a large fight with multiple people, according to the dispatch, on February 10th. Moscow police captain Tyson Barrett previously said witnesses reported many of the police involved were football players. Okay, so people came forward and coughed up that they were football players. The fight took place at a party where nearly 100 people were attending, and 2 or 3 students were treated by EMTs at the scene. Gresbeck said that Reed, a member of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity, I'm not familiar with that one, although I know we've deep dove into quite a few of these fraternities, asked the group to leave his home where the party was taking place. When they did not leave, Reed was punched, Gresbeck said. The attorney believes the incident stemmed from an altercation where a member of the frat, quote, had a tussle with a football player weeks prior. The reason we're here today is because Timmy and his parents don't want any vandals to go through what they have gone through. Pretty sure some vandals have already gone through something a lot worse. He later added, rumors have flown around campus seeking to justify this violence due to racial slurs that were thrown. And he says that this narrative is simply being conjured up to basically blame the victim, that's absolutely false, that his family doesn't speak that way, he doesn't speak that way, and it's not true. No one has been publicly identified as a suspect in the fight. Captain Anthony Dallinger with the Moscow Police Department told reporters Wednesday the department is trying to, quote, wrap things up. I wonder why the University of Idaho isn't having weekly meetings with the police department, over this incident. I'm just curious why they're not involved in this like they were with the off-campus murders. I wonder why they're not so involved here. There's no disciplinary action against any of the students. So I'm assuming that nothing has happened to the football players or the team either, even though they know that football players were involved. We're disappointed violence seems to have been chosen, and our thoughts go out to Tim Reed and his family, Walker wrote. We'll continue to look into this incident and the information provided by those participating in the investigation. This would piss me off. In the week following the fight, Dean of Students Blaine Eccles wrote to Reed in an email that the school opened an investigation. The incident was, quote, a tumultuous event involving a lot of people, and the student was, quote, on the receiving end of physical altercations. Okay, I think there's a little bit more than that going on here. I mean, clearly this family is going to end up suing. And just as an aside, this student that this happened to, that was beat up like this, his father was someone who gave money to the university. So it's not like, this can happen to anybody. But I just find it interesting because one of the things that's often thrown out when we talk about conspiracy, right? And conspiracy exists in the world. That's why it's a word. Conspiracy theory, we know, is a term that's been used against us ever since the JFK assassination. But conspiracy is a real thing. It's when 2 or more people conspire in something harmful, a crime, and they cover it up, right? And so conspiracy is real. And this is a conspiracy to hide whoever committed these acts, right? Now, I don't know what really happened there. It seems like Timmy probably didn't do anything. He's probably innocent. I don't know why these people in masks went over there with PVC pipes to beat up people at this other house. I don't know if it was rivalry or something like that. But regardless, the fact that no arrests were made at all on either side is really striking. And this isn't the only act of violence that's happened since the murders. There's been other things that's happened. And clearly, people can keep their mouth shut. I guess it's the whole point of me talking about this. So I think people should think about that. And I'm not saying that frats did anything at 1122 King Road. I'm just saying that for people thinking people are nutty for even considering that, consider this. Nobody's been arrested. Will anyone be arrested? And also consider, why hasn't Scott Green said anything whatsoever? I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that the football team's involved and they bring the school in a lot of money. And we know that Scott Green is very interested in the money that that school brings in, as he sits in that brand new glass house that he had built for him. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is this whole cell phone, the cell phone data that's come out. So I'm going to do another video later on today and talk about that, because something's really bugging me about it and I need to just talk about it. So that'll be my next video. I'll put that out a little bit later today. Catch you guys later and let me know what you think about this in the comments. Take care.